Hi guys, welcome back to the Fifth House Frequency podcast. I'm your host Haley, and I'm so glad you guys are back tuning in for another week. I just wanted to go ahead really quick and say thank you so much for all the love on last week's episode. I'm just so excited to be here doing this podcast, and it's just going to get more fun as the weeks go on. So this week's topic is super important. We're now officially in October, spooky season. It is the absolute best time of year in my opinion. But with the weather getting colder and with us approaching Halloween and winter, the veil is definitely getting much thinner. I don't know if you knew that, but as the weather gets colder, the veil between the spirit realm and between us is much thinner and much easier to penetrate. Also, we're just at heightened energy this time of year. The holidays are approaching. We're going to be around our families. Sometimes we don't have the same beliefs as our family. Also, a lot of people go out drinking this time of year, so I thought it would be a great time to go over spiritual hygiene and just some overall protective practices, just so we can protect our energy, we can be in our own energy, and we don't have outside people or entities or energies affecting us. So I'm going to go over all of that with you today so we can have a safe, fun, successful, spooky season going into the holiday season and into winter. So let's go ahead and get started. So first off, we're going to dive into spiritual hygiene and just kind of what that means. And what it means is exactly what it sounds like. So just like we practice hygiene with our physical body by showering, brushing our teeth, things like that, you know the drill. We also have an energetic body that we need to be taking care of. Whether we're conscious of it in the moment or not, we pick up tons of energy throughout our day. Have you ever noticed you just like go hang out with someone and the energy is just off because there's something about them is different? We actually do soak that in unless we have these boundaries put in place. So a lot of the time we're just going through life willy-nilly, just absorbing other people's energies, and it is affecting us and we don't even know it. We pick up energy through social media and through the news. If you consume a lot of negative things, that is going to affect you energetically. That's why I personally, as a rule, just don't watch anything that invites that energy in. So I don't watch anything horror. I don't consume true crime. I actually love that kind of stuff, but I just know that is a boundary for me. I notice my energy really changes when I consume that type of stuff. So I am very careful just with what I consume because of that. Also, if you go into like a highly populated area, you can just pick up energy from there. If you go somewhere and the vibe is just off, like a haunted house, or not even that intense, but just a place like, you know, like you just go into a store and the vibe is kind of weird and the air is stale and it just doesn't feel right in there, you can also pick up energy from there. Okay, so I'm going to be saying energy a lot in this podcast. Go ahead and take a shot every time I say it. That'll be fun. We can also pick up evil eye energy, and that sounds super intense, but really all that is people sending jealousy your way, and they might not even be aware that they're doing it. This is why I brought up family holidays and stuff. The evil eye is heavy in people's families, unfortunately. So it is just good to be aware of. So I'm going to tell you how I kind of notice when these things start affecting me, and then obviously I'm going to show you how to clear it and then protect yourself from it. So how this shows up for me is a lot of times first with my mental health. I'll notice that I start to kind of feel down and like weighed down and just depressed. It oftentimes manifests as depression for me. And then if we let it go on long enough, it will physically manifest into sickness or cold. Might not be anything severe, but you will definitely notice it manifesting physically if you just leave this going unchecked. Guys, it's cold and flu season also for a reason. I know there's obviously science behind that, but I just think everything is connected and it's something to kind of pick up on. So before we can actually set protections in place, we need to kind of clear out the negative energy that we already have. And I have lots of options for you guys to be able to do this, and they're all very simple. So number one is the simplest of all. It's physically cleaning yourself. So actually going and showering, wash your hair, do the whole shower. Just cleanse everything, because our energetic body does live on top of our physical body. It's like our auric field, it's all of that kind of stuff. And when I'm taking a shower, I really imagine that all of the negative energy is just kind of falling off of me and it is washing down the drain. Along with cleaning our physical body, we also need to be keeping our space clean, because where we live and our environment is so important for our well-being spiritually, and you don't want anything stagnant lingering around. So clean your bedding, clean your sheets. That is major. There's a reason why it feels so good to get into a clean bed, and part of it is the energetics behind that. So clean your bedding, clean your kitchen. Don't be leaving dishes in the sink. We need to think about what we're attracting. If we don't want negative energies and negative spirits, to be quite frank, lingering in our spaces, why would we leave an offering out for them? We wouldn't. So don't be unintentionally leaving offerings for really gross, low vibrational spirits. So get that kitchen clean, get your whole house clean. So that's going to be your number one thing on how we cleanse. And honestly, sometimes that is enough. But what I like to do after I clean myself and my home, just to make sure all of that unwanted energy is out, is I will do a smoke cleanse. So I will smoke cleanse my home with either incense or sage. Make sure it's not white sage. That is a closed practice unless you are indigenous. So there's a million kinds of sage though, don't worry. I usually use blue sage or just whatever I can get my hands on near me. But you can also use incense. You can also cleanse your space with sound. I love doing this. Sound is super, super powerful for getting out unwanted spirits or unwanted energy. If you have a bell, you could go around and ring a bell in your house, and that is going to clear out unwanted energy. Another super, super powerful way you can get your own energy back and just kind of reclaim your energy is through meditation or visualization. And I kind of mentioned visualizing the negative, stagnant energy washing off your body in the shower. This just kind of takes it a step further. And I actually have made a free meditation for you guys to do that walks you through how to do this visualization. So first in the meditation, it helps you clear your energy, and then it helps you set protection for your energy. So that is completely free, and that is linked in the show notes. It's just on YouTube, so you can also, if you're watching this podcast on YouTube, find it on this same channel. So definitely take advantage of that. It's super short, it's less than 10 minutes, and it is just such a powerful way to snap yourself back into your own energy. One of my other favorite ways to get back grounded into my own energy is physically grounding in nature. So literally go touch grass. That phrase is so overused, but go touch grass, get your bare feet in nature, or go take a walk in the woods, put your hands on a tree, just do something that kind of gets you grounded back. Just even go on a walk outside, spend time outside, get some sunlight in your eyes. Nature is like a phone charger for our bodies, and we just do not utilize this enough. You will feel so much better after you go spend even 10 minutes in nature. Bonus points if you can do this meditation while you're sitting in nature, or do it in the shower. And then my last two are more on the witchy side, but I love it. You could do a burning release ritual. So write down everything that you just feel like is holding you down, or any energy that you feel like is stagnant. Write it down on a piece of paper and just burn it, release it. Take a couple deep breaths as you're burning it and just let all of that go. That's if you know exactly what is weighing you down and what energy is affecting you. Otherwise, you're not going to know what to write down. So that's for more specific scenarios. And then finally, this one is one of my favorite ways to cleanse my energy, is doing an egg cleanse. It's a folk practice in many different cultures. I've seen it a lot in more Hispanic cultures, and it is just such an effective way to cleanse your energy. So what you do for an egg cleanse is you get an egg, make sure it is room temperature. So if it's been in the fridge, let it sit for a little bit and get to room temp. And what you're gonna do is you're literally going to take the egg and you're gonna rub it. You can rub it physically on your body, or you can focus it on your energetic body. You can kind of do both, but you start from your head, go all the way down to your feet, and just rub the egg all over you, kind of putting the intention of cleansing into the egg as you're doing it. I know it sounds weird, but it is so effective. And what you do after that, if you want to see the energy that is affecting you, you will take the egg and you will break it, crack it into a glass of water, room temperature water. Do not ever look over the top of the glass into the water, because you're just absorbing that energy back into you. If you want to look at it, look from this way. I always crack the egg without looking and then put a paper towel over it so I don't absorb it. And when it breaks, the yolk will have spikes or bubbles sometimes. You can tell what energy is being sent towards you based on the results of your egg and what is in there. So you can look up on the internet what egg cleanse results, and it's fascinating. And so what I do after is I take that, don't look at it, I flush it down the toilet and just say, this energy is not mine, I return it to sender. People also like to spice it up a little bit when they return to sender. You can put chili flakes in it. But that's up to you if you want to send it back spitefully or just send it back. That's totally up to you. But those are the ways that I personally practice spiritual hygiene, and I find that when I keep these up pretty much weekly or at least monthly, I don't do an egg cleanse every week. I really only do that if I'm really feeling like things are affecting me, like I'm dropping things or I have a stutter. I really pick up on little things like that because I know that's not my true nature, and that's when I'll usually do an egg cleanse. That's like bringing out the big guns for me. But the home cleansing and the body cleansing you can do, every single time you shower. And I always imagine the day's energy just washing down the drain. But the other ones you could do weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, whatever feels right to you, just to keep you in your own authentic magnetic energy, because we want to be able to just show up as ourselves. We want to be able to manifest super effectively to our fullest potential, and we don't want anything affecting those manifestations or affecting our relationships or our daily life in general. Okay, so now that we've gone ahead and cleared our energy, we're in our own authentic energy, we've practiced our spiritual hygiene, it's time to go ahead and put protections in place just so we can stay as much in our own energy as possible. Again, go ahead and take 17 shots for all the times I said energy. So I do want to quickly say this need for protection is not something dark and scary. I guess it could be, but it's not meant to be that at all. I used to get very OCD about protection, and I would start to get almost panicky if I didn't have a protection set in place, and no, it's not ever supposed to be like that. When I first found out about spirits and energies, it overwhelmed me, and I think that's where that behavior kind of came from. But that was earlier in my spiritual journey, and now that I'm a little bit more grounded in my practice and I found the things that work for me, I don't really feel like that anymore. So sharing this stuff isn't meant to cause you worry or stress. It's just to kind of make you aware as to other things that could be affecting you that you maybe weren't aware of before. Because a lot of the times the spirit realm isn't really at the top of most people's minds. So these are just little extra things to think about if you have been feeling off. So I should have maybe said that in the beginning of this episode, but I'm saying it now. Now we can go ahead and move into protection. So one of the main ways that I protect myself is literally so simple. And by the way, all these protections, let's just call them boundaries. We're really just setting boundaries energetically. And a lot of times we don't even have to let people know what they are. We can just set them ourselves and we know they're in place. And that's that. But one of my main boundaries I have is I do not let people touch me. I let very, very few people touch me. No strangers are touching me. Now that I have a child, I'm very I am actually OCD about this. I get very on edge if I feel like someone's about to touch my child. People are weird with babies in general, so I just get very protective over that. But I don't like being touched by other people because I am already so susceptible to other people's energy, other people's emotions. I feel for other people so deeply. There's someone in my life right now going through something. I don't even know her that well, and yet I've cried over her situation multiple times. It's not healthy, but it's just the reality of someone who, I don't like the word empath, it's so overused, but who is super empathetic and can really pick up on other people's heartbreaks and other people's energy, and you just don't know what other people are going through, and I don't really want to absorb it. I definitely don't want my child absorbing it. So I really limit physical touch with other people. Of course, my family, I'll hug my family, I'll hug my husband. That is out of the question, of course, but not really into letting strangers touch me. I kind of touched on this concept a little bit on TikTok when I talked about getting my hair done. I'm very, very weird about getting my hair done because it's right next to your crown chakra. It's very sacred. Your crown chakra is your channel to the divine, to God, creative, source, energy, whatever you want to call it. So it's just super sacred to me, and I don't want just anyone touching it. I know that we've all went to a hairstylist and they have been negative and gossipy, and you just feel like bleh after, and maybe your hair didn't even turn out super well because of it. I kind of take that experience into account with all my interactions with everyone, and I just prefer to not have anyone touch me. I also just can still feel it when people touch me. Like if someone pats me on the back, I can still feel where their hand was 5 minutes later. Again, I'm just super susceptible to stuff like that. So maybe you're not, but that's just my rule of thumb. Don't be letting randoms touch you. Might sound obvious, but number one. Number two, and this kind of goes back to the meditation I went ahead and made for you guys. Not only does it cleanse you and kind of helps you practice that spiritual hygiene, but it also grounds you into the earth. It cleanses you, charges you, and then I help you visualize and set a protection. So what I walk you through in that meditation, which is free, is I help you kind of create an energetic bubble around yourself that no one is able to penetrate, no spirits, nothing that is not a loving energy that you invite can penetrate that bubble. I do this pretty much every time I'm going to a big social event, so like a wedding, family holiday. Like I said, those are coming up fast. You want to have your protective bubble in place before family holidays. So definitely take advantage of that meditation. I literally make nothing off of it. It is just completely free. I just am so passionate about people protecting themselves, and I think it's so important, and it's actually so easy. So please use that resource, okay? I beg of you. So the best way to use that is to just do that meditation or set that protective bubble. If you know how to do that already, you don't need my guidance, that's fine. But do that before you go into a big group of people. Or if you go to work and you kind of don't love your coworker situation, do it before you go to work so you don't absorb your coworkers' energies. You kind of get where I'm going here. We just don't want to absorb anything from anyone else. So we are setting that shield and setting that boundary so that we stay in our own vibes. Trying not to use the word energy. We stay in our own vibes, in our own environment, in our own spiritual self. Side note, if you guys are watching on YouTube and just noticed a jump in camera quality, I did just have to switch cameras. So my apologies if this affects audio in any way. My other one died, so just a little side note there. But jumping back in, one of my favorite and super easy ways to put protection in place is to wear protective crystals or keep protective crystals around your house. So my favorites are the obvious black tourmaline. Love black tourmaline. I keep that by my front door. I have one that I keep on my keychain, so I always have it in my car. Obsidian is a great one. Smoky quartz. I personally, this is like a hardcore one, but I feel like my moldavite does protect me by removing situations that don't serve me out of my life, whether I know about them or not, or whether I like it or not. But this one is definitely not your average protective crystal. I don't think anyone else would necessarily call it that but me, but that's just my opinion. So crystals are a great way to do this. Another great practice, and you can also do this while you are meditating, is light a black candle. Black as a color symbolizes protection, so that's why when I'm traveling, I will always be wearing an all black outfit, or I'll at least have one thing on me that is black. My toenails are usually painted black because of this, especially around this time of year. And that is also why you will never see me driving anything but a black car. That's just me going extreme because I feel like we need protection on the road more than anything. So I like to just channel that wherever I can. Don't panic if your car isn't black, totally fine. Just put a protective crystal in there and you'll be good to go. Or just put your car in your little bubble when you do your visualization. So those are super simple ways you can do that. And when you do light your black candle, going back to that, you can carve an affirmation into it, or if you know how to do a protective sigil or symbol, you can carve that into the candle as you light it as well. I do that pretty frequently. Sometimes if I'm gonna go take a shower or a bath, I will light a black candle just for that purpose, or if I'm journaling, doing a meditation, it's pretty easy. They're super cheap and accessible, so that's a great way to practice spiritual protection. I mentioned briefly before you could do protective frequencies, which in my meditation I do play protective frequencies in the background, so that is a bonus. But you can just play these on your own in your house while you're getting ready. You can play them in your car, and those are going to be 741 hertz, 174 hertz, 417 hertz, and 396 hertz. Those are my favorites. You can look those up on YouTube. You can even look up protective frequency on YouTube and find those pretty easily. But those are just some of my favorites. And then jumping into home protection really quickly, salt is super protective. If you want to take a protective bath, you could put salt in there, light your black candle, put your black tourmaline in there, and that is a great protective ritual to do. But I also put salt on the thresholds of my home, so on my front door, my back door. I put it on like the steps to my front porch, and I put it on all my windowsills in my house just as another added layer of protection. I live at a crossroads, which is a super high energetic area. A lot of spirits are attracted to crossroads. This is a whole other tangent, whole other story, but it's just a fact. So I like to go the extra mile there, and I do the salt. Some might see that as superstitious, whatever. I used to be super OCD about it. I'm not as OCD about it anymore, and it's not really coming out of a place of fear. Just again, setting an energetic boundary. So those are all of my favorite protective practices. And with those being said, I want to quickly, because of the time of year, Halloween's around the corner, it's a super big time for going out and for drinking. I want to talk about drinking from an energetic standpoint and from a spiritual standpoint and how you can protect yourself if you're going to be going out and drinking. So I personally don't drink a lot. I have to be in a very, very specific mood, and it pretty much only comes up maybe once a year that I feel the urge to go out and drink. I'm just not in that place in my life right now, partly because I do have like a baby, I have a 1-year-old, I have a family, I don't know, I just have other things I'd rather be doing, but also a lot of it does stem from my spirituality, and I'm just not willing to invite any unwanted negativity or chaos into my life, which I feel like alcohol has a very chaotic energy. So if you are going to partake, which again, I do, I want to help you to just make it a less chaotic and more intentional, grounded experience. So before you go out, I do want you to do that meditation, or at least want you to cast your protective bubble around you. Definitely want you to do that, and I want you to set an intention before you go out. I want you to say to yourself, my energy is mine and mine alone. That way you're not absorbing crazy energy from the bar of like drunk idiots and guys and just like, you know what I'm saying? It's super low vibrational, and you don't want to absorb that yourself. And then when you actually get to the bar, get to your gathering, when you get your drink, I want you to place your hands on your drink. This doesn't have to be anything crazy. No one can even know that you're doing it. It can be super nonchalant, but just place both hands on your drink, take a deep breath, and I want you to ground your drink just into the earth. Ground it. Imagine a root coming out from that drink and grounding into the core of the earth. I help you guys ground yourself with that same technique in the meditation that I've talked about a million times, but it's just so powerful, and just so you can kind of lessen the chaos and not really invite it in. We just want to make our intention known that I am consuming this. I want to have fun. I don't want chaos. I want to remain safe and in my own energy. That way your intention is set into the drink, and that's that. This is why a lot of times also people will, when they're like drinking at a house party or something, everyone touches the bottle to bless the bottle. I saw one of my favorite creators, her name is Stas. She owns a metaphysical shop called Moonlight and Sage. I think her name on TikTok is Anastasia Moon Girl, but she made a TikTok that's like, you know, you guys are practicing witchcraft when you guys all go around and touch and bless the bottle. She's right, it is, but it's super effective. So just bless your drink, set your intention, ground your drink, and that should help you have a more intentional, fun time and a less chaotic time, so we're not inviting those negative spirits into our aura. And lastly, if you pray, you could say a prayer. Just ask for protection, ask for grounding. You could pray to God, whatever, to your spirit guides, whoever you pray to. You could definitely say a prayer, or just go ahead and say that affirmation, and you should be all good to go. So you guys are all set. You're going to be cleansed, protected, and just vibrating at the highest frequency. If you do all of these practices, or even just a few of them, I promise it's really going to change the way you operate, and you might start noticing things now, how certain people affect you or certain situations affect you, and just come back to these practices anytime you need to ground yourself. For the protection, I already told you guys I do the cleansing pretty much every day or every week at least. I pretty much just do the protection before a big event or just once a month. So usually for a full moon. There was just a full moon last night, and I did do my cleansing and protecting. So figure out a schedule that works for you, and just based on how often you see people, how often you go in public, or how things affect you. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know if you are going to try any of these. And again, let me know if you try my meditation. I'm really curious to see what you guys think about it. I think it is so powerful and so effective, so I'm excited to see if you agree. Make sure you leave me a 5-star review. It helps me out a lot, especially being a newer podcast, so thank you so much to those who have already left me amazing reviews. I love you. And lastly, if you guys have any topics you want me to go over, feel free to send me a DM, and make sure you're following my Instagram, which is 5th House Frequency. My own personal Instagram is just Hayley Callan. Find me on there, on TikTok, wherever, just so you can stay up to date with everything. I am going to be asking for your own personal stories here soon for a very fun, special Halloween episode. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're following along. And thank you guys so much for tuning into the 5th House Frequency. I will see you next Thursday.